Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katarzyna Michałowska, and I am currently working in Synerise as a project manager and also as a member of the customer success and implementation team. Today, I will try to be your guide through the world of recommendations, and I really hope that this presentation will open you to the new possibilities that this world can offer you. So at first, let's talk about recommendation itself. So the main goal of product recommendation is to present the user's products or services best suited to their preferences and current needs. And you may be wondering why your business needs recommendations. So at first, thanks for the recommendations, you can increase average cart value. So thank you recommendation, you can increase the average cart value in many ways. You can offer your customer complementary products, which would increase your cart by an additional product. You can also offer more expensive products in the category that interests him. And you can finally offer him a similar products, hoping that he will be tempted to buy more of them. You can also improve your conversion. If the customer finds on your website products that are best suited to his needs, he will be more likely to buy more things on your website. Thanks to the real-time adaptation, the recommendations change along with the behavior of your users, which makes them a very flexible tool that can support your sales. Of course, you can build long-term relationships with your clients because with our system, we can recognize and remember users' behavior, such as page visits or transactions. And thanks to that, we can use such information in our recommendation to serve our clients the best suit products just for them. And user may feel important and care because of that. Also, recommendations can make the customer see the proposed product before he even realizes that he really needs it. And finally, you can give a message that your website has all products in one place. For example, if during the shopping you show your customer not only products from the current category, but also from the others, you will be remembered as a place with a large selection of products and also as a website that has a lot to offer. So now when you know why you need a recommendation in your business, let's talk about types of recommendations. So at first, you can choose a similar recommendation. This is kind of easiest type of recommendation to implement because it operates only on the information sourced from the product feed. The main purpose of this recommendation is to help customer make purchase decisions faster by showing related offers and recommending similar products to the one they have viewed. Next, we have visual similarity. In this type of recommendation, we show visually similar products. And by visual similarity, I mean in shape, color, style, etc. So to prepare such recommendation, the system analyzes product feed and especially images of our products. So on that basis, it prepares offer of similar products. We have also cross-sell recommendation. And the main purpose of this type of recommendation is to offer additional products to the one that the customer are viewing and encourage them to add more items to their shopping carts. So the system compares currently viewed products with products that were viewed by other customers with these specific products. And on that basis, the system prepares product recommendations that may encourage user to add this additional product to their cart. Also, we have a cart recommendation. This type of recommendation allows you to create products offered based on the product your customer have added to the cart, and the algorithm analyzes of what product were added to a cart and also bought with such product by the other users. And finally, we have the most interesting recommendation, which is a personalized recommendation. And in this type of recommendation, let you suggest the products based on users' buying preferences and their behavioral profile. In other words, the users see from the very first page the products which are proposed based on what they have viewed or bought and the analysis of the product feed. So now you may be wondering what happened when new users visit your website. So when it comes to unidentified customers, they can see, for example, the most promoted items or bestsellers. So now is the time to explain what you actually need to implement a recommendation on your website. So of course, not for every type of recommendation you will need all those things, but most clients decide to implement various types of recommendations. So probably sooner or later you will need these things integrated. So we have few things required. At first, we have product feed. To be able to recommend any product, you require information about the list of all your products, and this is basically what product feed is. It's a kind of list of all your products in one XML file. Also, you will need OG tags because they can help AI to understand the product context. Also, you will need transactions and page visits. What is extremely important to add here is that all products IDs must be unique, but also they must be the same in your feed, in your OG tags, and also in the transactions. There's also a few things that are optional, but making a huge difference. For example, historical transactions. So they should be from at least 3 months, but of course, more is better. Also, historical page visits, and here is the same story. So at least from 3 months, but of course, more is better. And also, you can use other users' activities, such, for example, add to cart event on the others. So how to prepare recommendation in Synerise? We'll move to the platform, but first I will explain you how two steps you need to prepare to do so. So at first, you should choose what type of recommendation would you like to use on your website. You can, of course, use a different recommendation in each campaign you will show on your website. So let's move to the system and create an example recommendation. So to do so, you must click on the left side here, campaigns, and at the end of the list, you can find recommendations. And let's create a new one. Okay. And the first thing to configure here is the type of recommendation. Well, we can choose from those mentioned before. So you have cluster recommendation, similar products, cart recommendation, personalized recommendation, and visual similarity. You have here also top products and last seen. So for the purpose of this presentation, for example, I will choose visual similarity. The next thing is to declare the quantity of returned products in this recommendation. So in this case, let's define, for example, from 4 to 16. And here, if you switch this button here, you can exclude also products from your cart in this recommendation. The recommendation panel also allows you to limit the products offered in the recommendation thanks to available filters, such as brand filter, category, price, discounts, gender, and a few other additional settings. What is very useful in recommendation panel is the preview button here. So when I move here, okay, here you can test what recommendations will return to the user on your website before you decide to use this recommendation. So because we used a visually similar model, after choosing the product, we should receive a visual similar products limited to 16 because we've declared such maximum value of products. So let's see how it works. For example, I put some polo here. Oh, and the first one. Okay. And yes, we received 16. Yes, 16 similar products. When I choose a different product, here's the same story. Similar products limited to 16. So as you can see, this is a very useful functionality that will allow you to fit the recommendation to your needs, and you can test every model recommendation like that. So let's save our recommendation. Okay. And what we will need a moment is a unique fragment of the URL in this campaign, this one. And I will explain in a few seconds what we will need it for. So let's come back to our presentation. And now when we know how to create recommendation, question is how to show it to your user. So the second step is to create a visual layer for a recommendation. In this case, I will show you an example with dynamic content campaign that helps you put a frame or slider with recommended product on your website. But what is extremely important is the fact there's a lot of possibilities when you can put your recommendation model. You can also use a recommendation in email to show your user suggested products just for him. You can also use it in the SMS campaign or push. So basically, you can use a recommendation in any communication channel with your client. So let's see an example of dynamic content campaign. So come back to our platform, and also we should see on campaigns and dynamic content here. And as example, let's use some existing campaign, for example, this one. Okay. And first, here, we must choose one of two types of campaigns. It can be an insert object, if we want to place, for example, a slider on our website, like in our case. If I would like to show our recommendation, for example, in a pop-up, I would choose a web layer. And after that, we need to define our audience. So basically, we define who should see our campaign. In a content here, we have a code editor where we can define how our campaign will look like in the graphic side. So if you have in your team a developer, he can easily prepare a visual layer for your campaign here. If not, we also have a team of developers who are willing always to help you with that. So you're now probably wondering how our recommendation and visual layer are connected with each other. I showed you before a unique part of the URL of the recommendation, and this part is the unique ID of your recommendation, and we put it directly in our code, as you can see here. So this is basically how those two steps are connected with each other. So in a dynamic content campaign, you can also configure additional display settings, and you can schedule your campaign in time. So now when we know what the recommendations are, what are the types, what do you need to create them in a system, and how to do it in a system, I would like to show you the challenge that we faced with one of our clients. If you run a store, I'm pretty sure that you know exactly what are the best-selling products in your store, what are the customers' behavior, and what you can expect from them. However, our clients are often curious whether our algorithm can really outsmart domain knowledge. In our company we have asked ourselves this question many times, and we have tested our algorithm of personalized recommendation with the recommendation of, for example, last few products, bestsellers, or in many other combinations. And the results were always the same. So let's go together and find out the real results based on the story with one of our clients from the fashion industry. At first, I will outline the story of this client. So this customer also uses our services for his second profile and initially tested various types of recommendations on it. Based on the depth analysis and testing on that profile, we decided to immediately use the model of personalized recommendation on the new website. However, the client, relying on his domain knowledge, proposed to recommend products also in a cross-sell model for selected products. What is really important here, he didn't want to use directly from our algorithm, but by manually deciding which products will be proposed for this product according to his best industry knowledge about the product sold. So we gladly agreed to take this challenge, and here is the assumptions. At first, the test will be running on a cart page. Also, we created two cross-sell variants. For suit shirts added to a cart, we offer ties. And for suit trousers added to a cart, we offer suit shirts. For the rest of the products, we offer personalized recommendation. So for the purpose of this presentation, we have prepared this case on our demo page. So let's see how these recommendations look in practice. As I said before, we proposed to create two cross-sell variants. First was to offer ties to suit shirts. So let's see what's happened when I add some suit shirt, formal shirt to my cart. And as you can see, in recommendation, I can see ties. So this is the first variant. Let's see how it works for our second variant. So where we propose suit shirts for suit trousers. So let's add some suit trousers to our cart. Okay. And as you can see, we have suit shirts here. But what happened when I add something other products here? For example, some tie. Yes, and this is the recommendation generated only for me. And this is a recommendation based on personalized recommendations. So here is the difference, how it works in practice. So let's come back to our presentation. Okay, and this is the time for the most interesting part. Who won? Which recommendation performs better? So the metrics I will show you show results from the last 30 days. And at first, I will present results for the set where we offer ties for sutures. In the first metric, here, we can see the number of campaign views. So basically, it means how many users saw this recommendation. Our next metric informs us how many users visited the product page directly after clicking on our recommendation. A 2% CTR means that only 2% of users who saw our recommendation actually click on it. Here we have the value of products purchased based on purchase from the recommendation, and here is almost 900. The average product cart value informs us about average value of purchased products from the recommendation per user, and in this case, it will be a little over 45. And 1% conversion informs us that from all users who saw this recommendation, only 1% actually made a purchase based on it. So as you can see, the results from the first manually driven set are not really satisfying, but if we compare it with the second set, we may notice that our CTR here has increased. Here we have already 3% instead of 2 in the previous scenario. And also, you may notice that our average cart value is much higher than before. We have over 100 here instead of 45 before. Unfortunately, conversion rate is lower than in the previous set, and this is below 1%. So to sum up, if you want to compare those two results prepared manually according to the best knowledge of the client, the results are, let's say, on medium satisfactory level for us. So the real question is, whether something will change if we see the results of personalized recommendation. And here is the results. I think you already know the answer to my question, but let's go through this together and see how the indicators change. First of all, we have 3 times higher CTR compared to the first set and 2 times higher compared to the second set. Also, our average cart value is really impressive here, and it's over 200. I would like to remind you that for the first recommendation, it was 45, and for the second, slightly above 100. And let's finally see the conversion. Here we have 4% results, and this is definitely much more satisfying for us than the values equal or below 1%. So after seeing those results, we can again ask ourselves whether our personalized recommendations are better than domain knowledge. I think that after this presentation, the answer will be clear to everyone, and it's yes. And at the end of this presentation, I can confidently say that I'm sure that e-commerce owners know their business perfectly. And I'm also convinced that they know very well what they do. However, AI will be always one step ahead of them, and you definitely should try to entrust him with your business. So I hope the presentation was interesting for you and inspire a little bit. Thank you for your attention,